What's going on, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7 Reunion Part 3. We have made it to the end, and hopefully I can get through this review as quickly as possible so I can put this whole dirty season completely behind me. Anyway, so we're starting off with Mia and Jacqueline. They brought Jacqueline out to the stage last week, and so her and Mia, they're going at it. They're going back and forth. I have no idea if this is just all fake, because I can see Mia and Jacqueline plotting to act like that they're having this falling out because they think it's interesting to us, and then maybe them thinking that Bravo's going to bring both of them back next season, because they're going to think that, oh my God, the audience is on pins and needles to find out what happened to our friendship. Not. So her and Jacqueline, they're going back and forth. Jacqueline is trying to prove that Mia is a liar, but we already know that, girl. You're preaching to the choir. We've been knowing that Mia was a liar. Jacqueline talks about how Mia was never the CEO of the joint chiropractic. It was always Gordon. Okay, that's believable, because Mia doesn't come across to me as some type of a, business-minded woman. She pretended to be that. I remember that one scene. I don't know if it was this season or last season, but they had opened up another joint chiropractic franchise, and she came there to kind of see how things were going, and all she did was shuffle a couple of brochures, and then she left. And I'm supposed to believe this woman is running multiple, or she's the owner of multiple, the joint franchise. Girl, anyways, so she lied about being with Jacqueline's mother on Mother's Day, because Mia talks about how close she is to Jacqueline's parents because they took her in, and that's how they claim that they're like sisters, because they were growing up together in Jacqueline's home, whatever. And Jacqueline wanted to prove that no, Mia was not with my mother on Mother's Day at all. And then Mia says, well, I was on the phone with her all day. Jacqueline, you're wasting your time. We don't care about you proving that Mia's a liar, because we've been knowing that. And then they talk about how Gordon will never know where Mia is. She'll disappear on him at the drop of a dime, and then he gets worried that she's with another man. Of course he'd be worried that she's with another man, because him and Mia met through adultery. And I think when people build a relationship on the basis of adultery, there's always this sense of distrust, because both of you have proven to the other that y'all really don't care about the sanctity of marriage, and y'all really don't care about being honest, because y'all were deceiving the third party, the spouse that was unaware of what was going on and wasn't involved in the cheating. Y'all were deceiving that person. So I can totally understand that there would be a distrust between the two of them, because he's probably thinking, well, she was with me and I'm a married man, and she's probably was cheating on me with somebody else, because she could care less about the sanctity of marriage, because she didn't give a damn about the sanctity of my marriage. So Gordon doesn't believe her lies and doesn't trust her. Like I said, we don't either. Gordon, join the club. We don't either. So Jacqueline says that she never slept with Gordon, or Mia for that matter. And when Jacqueline told Mia that she needed more loving in her life, Mia took that as a dig against Gordon, because Gordon is a prostate cancer survivor, and so because of that, I guess he can't do certain husbandly duties, I guess. And so when Jacqueline threw that out there, Mia was like, and you were taking a dig at my husband and what he's been through. No, girl, it wasn't that at all. She was just telling you that you're really, really uptight and you need to release some stress. It had nothing to do with Gordon and what he went through. So Jacqueline says she bought her own damn Porsche, that they did not buy the Porsche for her. And then she brings the documents, I guess the receipt of the Porsche, to show that it's under her name. No one bought it for her. Okay, fine, but maybe they gave you the money. Maybe they helped you with the down payment of it. Maybe they helped you pay for it. It's still under your name, but they probably gave you a little bit of cash to help you out. I don't know, and I really don't care. And then the question is, what is the future of Mia and Jacqueline's friendship? Don't know. Don't really care. They can both run off into the sunset together, and if I never see them again, it will be too soon. Moving on to Charisse. So Charisse comes out, and her hair was like, Her hair reminded me of like how your hair is when you first get it relaxed, how it's got that shine and that softness to it and that bounce. That's what her hair reminded me of. So Robin says that, they give us the brief history of how Robin and Charisse were friends. They met back in 2002 when Eddie, which was Charisse's husband at that time, was Juan's coach, Juan's basketball coach, and that's how they met. Robin makes it a point to say that it's not just her that's close with Charisse, it's everybody on that stage except for Wendy and Karen. But everybody loves Charisse, and nobody has a problem with Charisse except those two women. So the question is, why did Karen see Charisse attending her mother's funeral as a bad thing? And Karen refused to talk about it. She says, I'm not going to talk about my mother. I respectfully decline to answer any questions about my mother. And respectfully, Karen, we're not asking questions about your mother. May she rest in peace. With all due respect, we just want to know, why did you see her attending your mother's funeral as a bad thing, as a negative thing? Because anybody else would think that it was positive for her to attend the funeral to show you support. The question then was, why did Karen invite Charisse to birthday parties and other events if she didn't like her? Karen said, well, Charisse wanted to come. And then someone had said, well, your 55th birthday party was a very intimate celebration. You only had invited a very select group of people, like your closest friends and stuff. So why would you invite her if you don't like her? And she says, I didn't invite her. She wanted to come. And Matt, I guess the guy that does her assistant, Matt asked her, hey, Charisse wants to come. Can she come? And Karen was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And Charisse was like, no, I never requested to attend your birthday dinner. You invited me to attend your birthday dinner. And to me, that sounds a little bit more plausible. So then when it comes to all of these rumors about Karen sleeping around and Karen having an affair or having affairs on Ray and Mr. Blue Eyes, I think Charisse just came out and admitted that she lied. I think that's what she did. I think she was just like, well, I only said those things because, she hurt me first. So I think Charisse basically said she made up all of that stuff about Karen sleeping with employees at restaurants and bars and, getting down with the get down in the bathrooms of these establishments. I don't see Karen doing those things at all. And for Charisse to just kind of be like, well, I only said those because she lied, because she hurt me first, or whatever she said. I'm like, Charisse, there's a lot of things that you can say about someone. I mean, just making up blatant lies like that, it's just like, this is what these women do. This is what it's come down to. For the sake of not being cut from the show, for the sake of trying to stay relevant, trying to be interesting, trying to be trending on Twitter or whatever the hell, for the sake of getting a continued paycheck, these women are willing to do anything, including just straight up lies about one another. Like, how can you say that Karen was doing those things when she wasn't doing those things? Like, it's unbelievable to me. Anyways, so Wendy says, these people, they get mad when the rumors are about them. They get very defensive and they're like, how can you say these things about me? How can you say this about me? I can say that about me. But heaven forbid if it's about somebody else, then they're all in it. They're all perpetuating it. They're all contributing to it. As long as the rumors are about someone else, it's perfectly fine. Once it's about them, then all of a sudden they're holier than thou and they're victims. So then we move on to Miss Robin Dixon. So the question was, so we're talking about her wedding, right? We're talking about her damn wedding. And Robin tells us one of her really good friends, her point was, at first, she and Juan wanted it to be just them and the kids, and that's it. No other humans around. But then she decided to invite her parents, and she was grateful that she did have her parents there. And then she talked about how one of the advantages of having the wedding in Maryland instead of in Jamaica was because one of her friends was able to help her with the planning of the wedding. And so she had that assistance there where she would not have gotten if she was in Jamaica. And for whatever reason, her parents would not have been able to travel to Jamaica. I don't understand why they wouldn't. So Then they asked Giselle, did you feel some kind of way that Robin didn't even invite you to her wedding? And Giselle said that, yeah, it did bother her that she wasn't invited, but she just had to get over it. And then Robin says, it felt so right that way. I don't, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. I'm not buying that because I just don't understand. I mean, Giselle was the one that was, she was involved. What's his name? Juan had involved Giselle in how he was going to propose to Robin. Juan had involved Giselle in purchasing the ring, the engagement ring. And I understand that if these questions were brought up, like, okay, why wouldn't you invite her to your wedding when she was an integral part of the whole engagement process? I'm pretty sure they would probably say, well, that was just for the show. That was just for content. That was just to put Juan in front of the camera or whatever. But it's very strange and very weird that Giselle wasn't invited. I don't care what Robin says. I don't care that Giselle claims that she's not bothered by it anymore. It is extremely suspicious to me that Giselle was not invited to Robin's wedding. Okay, if she didn't want to invite her to the wedding, like, why couldn't she be a part of the planning of the wedding? I don't understand that. So basically, y'all are basically saying that Giselle and Robin are fake friends. They're not even really, they're not true best friends. Maybe they're associates. Maybe they're friends on a very surface level, but they're not like, deep like that with their friendship. Just say that. That would make sense. If Robin would have said, hey, Robin, if Robin just would have said, Giselle is my TV friend, but I also have real life friends that I wanted to be a part of the process, I would totally understand that. They asked her about the prenuptial agreement. She said that they did sign the prenup and that it's 50-50. They get 50-50 if anything should happen. So what was the point of doing a prenup? I mean, wouldn't it have been 50-50 anyway? Of anything that is considered marital property, which is property acquired during the course of the marriage, when that is over, isn't it already split 50-50? Because y'all are both ownership of any property acquired during the marriage. And then she says, because she thinks that she sounds like very, very intelligent. She says, but he'll never have ownership of any of my businesses. Well, you brought those into the marriage. So yeah, he would not have ownership of those businesses because you brought them with you into the marriage. Those are not acquired during the marriage. So of course he shouldn't have ownership of your businesses, but is he going to have 50% of the profits of those businesses, of the profits that you acquire during the marriage? That's my question. So they asked her about the fidelity clause. She said no. She claims that, well, I mean, what if I didn't want to be setting myself up? I guess she thinks the whole concept of cheating and having affairs and being unfaithful, it's cute to Robin. That's why it doesn't bother her when Juan does it, because it's cute to her. Because what if I get all caught up? So you also want an out in case you end up cheating on him. You want to make sure that, you're not going to have to pay any consequences. But I know one thing's for sure and two things for certain. When she brought up that infidelity clause to Juan during the season, when they were in the kitchen, they were sitting across from each other at that counter, and she brought up the infidelity clause, she was dead serious. She did not look like she was playing around. She did not think that it was cute, that there was a possibility of him cheating on her. But now that things had kind of took a turn and he has been exposed as the cheater, now cheating and infidelity, all of that is really cute to her. Robin would never cheat on Juan. That would never happen. And it's not because she has some sense of loyalty to this man. It's because he really wouldn't care. He wouldn't give a damn. If Robin cheated on Juan, Juan would be out of there so quickly. And not because he was hurt about it, but because he was like, oh, thank God I got an out. She cheated on me. I'm out of here. He would see it as an excuse to get out of the marriage. And she knows that. So they talked about family fun day that she had planned and asking her, why was it so horrible? Why was it so trash, Robin? Why did it look like you put no effort into it whatsoever? And she said that it was a last minute thing. No, it wasn't because it was a last minute thing. Well, yes, it was because it was a last minute thing. And the reason why it was a last minute thing is because you planned it on the fly. So when you and Wendy were going back and forth at Ashley's dance event, whatever the hell that was, the choreography dance thing, and you were about to, when you stood up and you're walking towards her like you were going to beat her down, You decided at the on the fly to plan an event to purposely exclude Wendy. You wanted to do because you couldn't get your hands on her and you were still quite angry at her. So you decided to plan something just for the sake of excluding her. That's why your event was trash, because it was created out of meanness. You just being extremely mean and wicked to Wendy. That's why it was the way it was. It wasn't because you have been planning this, but you never. Girl, stop. It was just for the sole purpose of hurting Wendy. That's why it was last minute, because you weren't thinking about this until that very moment when you couldn't get your hands on Wendy. You couldn't get your hands around her neck. Robin said that Juan was, so they asked her about the lawsuit that Juan's involved in at Coppin University. And she says that, he's not guilty of anything. He didn't do anything wrong. And they're just using his name as clickbait. I don't know what she meant by that. I guess the people that are suing are just including him in the lawsuit just so that they can get attention for the lawsuit. They can garner some type of public attention. I don't know. But when I read about that case, Juan had some culpability because a student came to him for help. And he basically just kind of dismissed it all. This person came to him because they were being, what's the word? They were being basically like, it was more than just catfishing. This person, they were being blackmailed. That's the word. They're being blackmailed by a coach. Okay. A coach. They're being blackmailed by a coach, blackmailed and catfished by a coach, someone who was working with Juan in his department and was working underneath Juan. This student came to Juan and said, "Hey, Coach so-and-so is doing X, Y, and Z to me." And Juan just dismissed it. He just completely dismissed it, acted like this student was over exaggerating, that they were complaining about nothing, and just get over it. Just man up and get over it. That's basically how it was. So it's not clickbait, Robin. He has some culpability. He's not 100% responsible. All the money should not come out of his pocket at all. But he was involved in not getting this student help. Then they bring out the husbands. So, of course, Juan is not there. Juan's got time to show up at hotels. He's got time to show up at laundromats. Always helping some damsel in distress. The hotel chick, she lost her wallet. Well, how did Juan's name show up on the receipt for the hotel that she was staying at? Oh, he just showed up to pay for the hotel. He's got time to do that. He's got time to show up at a hotel for a stranger just to pay for her room. And then while we're at this laundromat, she didn't have any money to pay for the dryer. Shows up, puts some coins in the machine. He's got time for all of that. But he doesn't have time to stand behind his woman at the reunion after they just got married. And their wedding has been a storyline for this show forever. Now that they finally did it, he can't be bothered. Oh, he's working. He's not the only one on earth with a job. Like I said, on Married to Medicine, these people are real doctors, real surgeons. Okay, you have Jackie, who she can be called on the fly to deliver a baby. Eugene was working in the emergency room for the longest. These are real doctors, and they make the time to show up at a damn reunion. Juan, a basketball coach, he can't take out one day to be there for his wife. Okay, girl. We know he don't care. We know he doesn't give a damn about supporting you, pretending to support you, putting up appearances that he support. He could care less. He's probably at another hotel paying for somebody else's room. Moving on. Gordon got emotional talking about Mia's health. I'm very confused about that. He says that they still don't have any answers. I don't know. I thought they said it was a rash. Then they asked about Peter's girlfriend. They asked Gordon about Peter's girlfriend. And, because they asked Gordon, have you ever cheated on Mia? Or have you ever been with other women besides Mia? He said no. Then they asked him about Peter's girlfriend. And when they asked him about Peter's girlfriend, the look on his face, and now he was moving his lips because he was kind of like, I was like, okay, he's about to tell a lie. He's about to tell a whole lie. Peter Thomas says that he don't know Mia and Gordon. They never hung out like that. They were never friends like that. And his girlfriend had nothing to do with Mia and Gordon. So when they asked Gordon, well, what about Peter's girlfriend? Well, he said that there was just some fondling or something, but it didn't go past that. Lies. And he's lying for Mia. Mia probably told him, hey, if they ever ask you about Peter's girlfriend, this is what you're gonna say. Moving on. Now we get to the meat and potatoes of it all. Chris Bassett. So Chris starts off by saying, well, let's go ahead and give Giselle the benefit of the doubt, and that I was the one that asked her to go to her room. Let's just go ahead and give her the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't agree that that's how it went, but he's like, let's just say that's how it went. So he wanted to know exactly what did he do to make her uncomfortable. And he gets extremely heated when he's asking her the question because, you know, she's not really giving a straight answer. She's beating around the bush. And he's like, come on then. You know, I'm asking you, what did I do? And she goes, well, I'm about to tell you. And he's like, okay, come the F on and say it. And then she's like, well, if you're going to talk to me like that, if you're going to cuss at me, then I'm just not going to say anything. So from what I gathered, between the yelling and all of that, and Giselle trying to deflect and beat around, from what I gathered, this is what makes sense to me. I remember during that reunion, Giselle was, I think, and I'm not sure, I could be wrong, and if I am, somebody out there will definitely point that out to me, but I think it was last year. Was it last year when what's her name, Candace had just released her song or whatever, and they had asked her to sing the song a cappella live at the reunion, just on the spot, on the couch where you're at, just start singing. They wanted her to sing a song, I think, and she didn't want to. She was really hesitant about it. And so the women, especially Giselle, they were really hard on Candace. Well, if you want to be a singer, why can't you just sing? If you know how to sing, just sing. And so they kept on badgering her, and Giselle was, you know, at the forefront of all of that. And so Candace went ahead and she sung a song, and then they were like, why would you sing that song? Why don't you sing your own song? So then she sung her own song. And during the break, Chris, who was drunk, I distinctly remember Chris being drunk. He was drunk. He wasn't a little tipsy. He wasn't, you know, feeling himself. He was drunk. Okay. So during the break, when Chris approached Candace to say something to Candace, Giselle was sitting right next to Candace. And Chris had said something about how he didn't like how Giselle was questioning Candace. And I'm kind of like, you know, this is not verbatim. This is just like from my memory. And he kind of mentioned to Giselle, well, I didn't like how you handled that, or I didn't like the questions you were asking her. He was being very protective of Candace. And Giselle got defensive, and she's like, what did I do? What did I say? What did I do? And so I think Chris said, okay, we'll talk. And then that was it. You know, they didn't show him nothing else after that. So if that was how it all started, where he expressed his dislike of the questions she was asking Candace, and then Giselle was like, well, what did I do? And then Chris says, well, we'll talk. It would make sense to me that after that, Giselle would say, well, let's go talk in my room. Because Giselle is kind of like that. She wants to handle it right now. So I can see her saying, let's go talk in my room. And I can see them walk into her room, and her probably thinking that her group is there, her entourage is there, but come to find out they're not. And it's just her. Now, keep in mind, you know, Chris is intoxicated. So they go into this is what I'm imagining how it played out. They go into the room, and she said he closed the door. And that's when she began to feel uncomfortable, because you have someone else's husband in your room who's clearly intoxicated. And she claims that this is, not she claims, I'm assuming this is what she means, that she felt what made her feel uncomfortable. Chris says he did not shut the door. I think he said that the door was even open. And then Giselle kept on insisting that the door was closed. And then he says, okay, but it wasn't locked. So he was like admitting the door was closed, but it wasn't locked. So she keeps on talking about, but I felt uncomfortable. I felt. And Chris wants to know, what did I do to make you feel uncomfortable? Because maybe, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, and I'm not even trying to justify her bad behavior at all. I'm just playing devil's advocate from her point of view. Because Giselle doesn't know how to express herself very well, it comes out all wrong. Maybe what she meant to say, you were drunk, we were in this room alone, the door was closed, and I was extremely uncomfortable because you were intoxicated. Maybe that's what she meant. And Chris did make a good point, because between the two of them, she was unintoxicated. She had her wits about her. So Chris made a good point and said, if you realized your entourage was not in your room, then why didn't you just direct us somewhere else for us to go talk somewhere else? I don't think she had an answer to that. Giselle tries to also make it look like Chris knew that there was nobody in her room. She thought her entourage was in her room. And somebody from her camp had told her, no, girl, he knew that we weren't there because we said bye to him. And Giselle brings this up at the reunion. But they said bye to you. And he was like, I don't remember. He doesn't remember because I think he was drunk. I mean, there's a lot going on. So she wants to make it seem like Chris knew the room was empty and it was his idea to go to her room. And he lured her into her room and she was uncomfortable. But to me, what makes more sense is him saying, we need to talk. And then her saying, well, let's go to my room and talk. And they go in the room. There's nobody there. The door closes on its own, because I'm thinking, were they in a hotel? You know, those doors are pretty heavy. Maybe it closed by itself. And then that's when she began feeling uncomfortable. I don't know. Like I said, I still don't think that how she handled it afterwards, it wasn't right. It really wasn't right. If she really felt that way, I think that she would have talked to Candace about it, talked to Andy about it, go to HR, talk to your agent, your whoever, your managers, or your lawyers, or whoever, and have them talk to Bravo and say, okay, an incident occurred that really made her feel uncomfortable. I think it's true that she waited for the season to blast Chris, because she knew that something happened. For sure, they were in that room alone, and she was going to take that and she was going to run with it. So there was evil intent behind how she presented it to the rest of the world. So I'm not going to go word by word. Chris talks about how he had to, it was 10 months of hell for him. He lost clients. He lost money. He had to answer to his children. He had to answer to his family. He was extremely upset. And I think she even said to him, you had a lot to drink. And this is like, this is why, you shouldn't come. You shouldn't look. I don't know. If he hadn't been drinking, maybe things would have been different. I don't know. And I don't know. So, Candace, of course she does her thing. She does what Candace does. She calls her garbage. She says that she has no soul. What did she call her? A gutter snipe. She went in on Giselle for real. And then then Candace says, your proximity to whiteness allows you to make these accusations without consequences. Then people got upset with her. Even Wendy didn't agree with that, because they were like, this has got nothing to do with colorism. And Candace tries to defend herself and say, if I were to say something like that about someone's husband on the cast, nobody would pay attention to me. I don't know. I don't know if this was a point for colorism. I don't know. I just don't know. Privileges, yes. Benefits, yes. Candace gets aggressive. She gets dragged. Robin gets aggressive. It's ignored. That I give her. But to say, because Giselle is light-skinned, she gets away with... I don't think Giselle has gotten away with anything. I don't know what Candace expected, but people have been dragging Giselle since she first brought this up. No one is Team Giselle on this, as far as I can tell. I haven't seen it. Everybody wants her off the show. They want her off the show. They want her to take Robin with her. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because even with Monique attacking Candace, Monique, it was like, there was a lot of Monique supporters and there was a lot of Monique haters. But with Giselle, it's kind of like the majority of the people They don't see her for Giselle anymore. Not at all. So I don't know if that was a good way to demonstrate colorism. Chris decides to accept Giselle's apology. Candace did not. If Candace and Giselle come back together next season, wow, Giselle better watch out. They ask Ray, does he believe any of the rumors about Karen? He says absolutely not. He says he's very disappointed in the women of the show because they perpetuate these rumors about Karen. No one really stood up and defended Karen. He said that, Karen minds her own business. She stays in her lane. I don't know why they wanted to come after my wife this season with all this mess, but no, I don't believe it. Robin questions Karen's allegations about Juan because, what was she trying to say? She was asking Karen, why would you say that about Juan? Are you trying to say that he committed SA on you? And Karen was like, I never said that he did SA. All I said was I was uncomfortable with his hug. At least with Karen, she can specifically point out to something. This is what Juan did. He hugged me. It was too tight. I felt uncomfortable. She's got the right to feel that way. It's debatable whether people think that what he did was right or wrong, but she does have the right to feel that way. So she was like, I'm not accusing him of anything like that. I'm just saying that I felt uncomfortable with how he hugged me. And now he talked about how if they were going to have a threesome, she'd be the third. Yeah. Okay. So then after that, that was the end of the show. That was the end of the reunion. So the season's over. It's wrapped. It's a very complicated season, a very problematic season. And I know one thing's for sure and two things for certain. Giselle's going to move a whole lot differently if she comes back. And all of this stuff, these accusations of your husband's cheating on you, that needs to stop. If you can't prove it, shut up. Y'all got too much going on. Y'all can attack each other in other ways besides accusing people's spouses of cheating on them. Moving on to the Watch What Happens Now, because it kept on talking about how there was this extended version of Watch What Happens Live. I thought they showed all of that when it originally aired. There's nothing to say. Robin is playing naive. She knows this man cheated on her. She knows that the words coming out of her mouth do not make any sense. I don't know what she's trying to do. Ebony K. Williams was sitting next to her, and when Robin said that, oh, I don't believe that anything happened between Juan and that woman. He was just paying for her hotel. He was just being a good Samaritan. Ebony K. Williams was sipping her drink like, please don't ask me what I think. Please don't ask me what I think because I'm here to support Robin. Please don't ask me what I think. Well, she wasn't there to support Robin, but throughout the show, she was very sympathetic to Robin. But when it came to that, you can tell from her face that she was like, now Robin, that's some bull. I don't know what else to say. Accused Karen of cheating without proof and never mentioned her. So, Andy consistently tried to get Robin to understand and see logic. Like, do you not see how crazy it is that you would accuse Karen of cheating, but you had no proof of that? And here was your husband who did do something that some would consider cheating, and you said nothing about that. And her whole thing of, I didn't bring it up because I was waiting for Karen, that's nonsense. That's not why she didn't bring it up. In her mind, I believe that Robin did not bring up Juan's cheating because she decided to not make a big deal about it. Juan told her what he told her. She made the decision to believe him or just to move on. And so to her, she was like, why would I bring it up? It was resolved. It wasn't an issue anymore for me. So why would I bring it up? Me and Juan dealt with it. We took care of it, and we're moving forward. So why would I bring up, oh, by the way, my husband was cheating on me or he did something, because she doesn't want to admit that her husband was unfaithful. She doesn't want to admit that because she looks crazy that you postponed this wedding for so long and then you finally decide to marry him, and around the time that y'all got married, like right before y'all got married, he does this. Like he did this during 2021 or something. So to her, it was kind of 2020. So to her, it was like she doesn't want, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. She's with the man. She's staying with the man. She wants to believe his lies, or she doesn't believe his lies, but she still wants to stay with him. And that's all we can do. That's and Robin, let me give you some advice, girl. Let me give you some advice. This man has already embarrassed you twice with the hotel lady and the laundromat lady, or more than twice, and the plethora of times he has not come to these reunions and doesn't want to support you. You're still making the decision to stay with him. My advice to you, Robin, don't come back on the show. Do not come back on the show, because you're gonna bring too much attention to the cracks in your relationship. Don't come back on the show. If you made your decision to stay with this man, don't come back on the show, because other stuff will definitely come up, because he's just too tempted. Juan is too tempted. He's just too tempted. He's not strong enough to resist all the women that are going to be throwing themselves at him. He can't do it. And at least if you're not on a show that comes on weekly, no one's going to be thinking about you. No one's going to be checking for you. So if you want to live peacefully, Robin, don't come back on the show. Giselle will be just fine without you. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.